Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
I am Craven the Hunter. No, really. It's Rocco, if you didn't know. I know it's easy mix up. Easy mix up.
Very, I mean, just by the chest hair, you can tell that, it's something different.
I do have a Maybelline pen somewhere along here. I could etch in a couple of strands.
I bet you do. All right, and we're here to discuss the massive announcements of Marvel Studios and Avengers Doomsday, now in production, set to debut or set to, as far, well, at least the date was tentative at May 1st, 2026. Now,
Thanks.
you figure I'm assuming what, a couple months actual, filming, and then the rest of the time probably CGI and editing and CGI work and everything. And now we have no less than 27 cast members in this movie, and Marvel did something kind of interesting, but at the same time dastardly, and we're all, we weren't immune to it. We're all fools for actually doing it. I do believe it was on Wednesday. I'm at work and I happen to check my phone on Instagram. All of a sudden, you see Marvel Studios is live. There you go. Marvel Studios is live, and then click on it. You see the director's chairs. Okay.
All dramatic and shit.
All dramatic with the music. Dun, 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 dun. And you see Chris Hemsworth. Okay. All right. And then you see the other chairs next to it. And then from there, it moves on to the camera pans from one chair to the next chair, Letitia Wright. And then it pans, Sebastian Stan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until it goes all the way for all 27 cast members and it lands and it finishes on the one and only
Robert.
Downey Jr. Okay, now, what was dastardly or crazy was that this took like 5 hours. So when I logged on, it was probably already three names had been announced, I do believe. And it was at 23,000 on Instagram. When I ended up leaving, I stayed maybe 10 minutes, watching, seeing what would happen next because I wasn't sure. I mean, I knew it was going to be the cast, but I wanted to see like who was actually going to be in the cast. It was at like 29,000. So you factor that in, you factor they were probably live on Facebook, they were probably live on TikTok, probably live on X, fuck X, Twitter, maybe Reddit, maybe, Cucamonga Central, whatever. That being said, I give it a Raka. Raka, tell us who is actually going to be in this movie.
All right, everybody, if you're ready, we're going to hit it right. And I will pair it with their acting counterpart. Chris Helmsworth, Thor. Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm. Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson / Falcon / Captain America / whatever you want. Sebastian Stan, Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. Letitia Wright, Shuri, or the new Black Panther, maybe, I guess to be determined. Paul Rudd, Ant-Man. Wyatt Russell, U.S. Agent. Namor. Sorry. Apologize in advance. Namor's in it.
Namor. Namor. Get it right. Namor.
Namor. Ebon Moss Barach.
Cousin.
Simu Liu, which I don't know. There's some stuff with him. Shang-Chi. Florence Pugh. Elena Belova. Kelsey Graham. Okay. Dr. McCoy. So, we're going to touch on what these means. The Beast. Louis Pullman. Sentry, which should have been what's our boy, but of course, whatever. Danny Ramirez, the new Falcon. Joseph Quinn, the Human Torch. David Arbor, Stranger Things. Red Guardian. Wilson Duke, M'Baku. Hannah John Kamen, Ghost. Tom Hiddleston, we all know and love as Loki, who never can die. He can never die.
Well, we can. I'm not going to interject, but once after, there's many questions. So go on.
That's the next two. Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen. God bless the senior circuit. You're still alive and kicking. You're going to perform. I mean, this just, I mean, the melting pot. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to
The
it.
one and only bromance of all time.
Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler.
That is fantastic. When I saw that, I actually jumped for joy. That because he was, you know,
Well, we got to intertwine and get into Rebecca Romajan, Mystique, James Marsden, Cyclops, your boy, Channing Tatum. Finally, 20 years later, gets his second debut as Gambit. And of course, Pedro Pascal, Mr. Fantastic, and RDJ, Dr. Victor Von Doom.
now that's quite a cast. Now, all right. Now, let's get into it. There's some glaring omissions there. Who do you,
Spider-
who do you think is missing? Go ahead. Say again.
Spider-Man.
Indeed, Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Freaking huge, in my opinion. Because he was such an integral part in 1 and 2. And, Infinity Wars and all that stuff. And he has his own big series. He's huge. Maybe because he has such a huge presence all off on his own, he's not there. As you can tell, too, they have intertwined the Thunderbolts, the Fox version of X-Men, the newer stuff, and of course, Doctor Doom. Now, Thor's in it, and there was a lot of talk that the Thor line with Chris Hemsworth was dead.
Yes, but he also mentioned that, and this is from his mouth. I'm not going to give you the exact quote, but he was disappointed by the last Thor, that it was a bit too funny or too skewing towards comedy, and that if asked, he would definitely do another one in a more serious Thor tone.
Let me talk about Ragnarok. That was awesome. And that was his boy.
Love and Thunder, not Ragnarok.
I know, but the last one wasn't as funny, to my opinion. And I thought Ragnarok was more funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there was a lot of,
I mean, there's overtones because his sister's going to kill him. But all right, can I get to the second biggest submission, which I just scratched my head?
I have a whole list right here, but go ahead.
Doctor Strange.
Indeed.
This is freaking huge. Not to mention the whole Hell's Gate, Dormammu, the future, the dark magic. If you have a sorcerer, right, the biggest, baddest sorcerer, Doctor Doom. The second biggest, baddest has got to be Doctor Strange. How's he not in here?
Agreed. What about Captain Marvel?
Exactly.
No.
One not. I mean, because single-handedly could have taken every finger off Thanos.
Now, supposedly, I mean, depending on who you talk about, Iger and the execs at Disney were not happy at the box office results of the Marvels, and
she did.
A lot of fans, Disney, well, the anti, the people who always call it woke, they're the ones who really did not like her as a character or as an actress or as that character in general. Now that's the toxic part of the fandom, but let's not get into that. Another one who I thought, what about Deadpool? What about Wolverine?
Exactly. Those are two huge ones. But to piggyback off the Doctor Strange one, with the last movie, I thought Scarlet Witch was coming back.
Exactly. One of the biggest ones. If you're gonna have a Victor Von Doom, a Doomsday, Scarlet Witch, even though she's quote unquote dead, but yeah, I mean, really? What about the Hulk?
Huge. And She-Hulk, which I understand because of the politics. But as you know, and as I know, and I'm not saying they have to stick to comic book canon lore. She's huge. He's huge in this.
Yeah.
Integral. And how do you fight the fight to save the universes without your big guns?
Exactly. I mean, Going back on X-Men, what about Storm? Where's Storm?
Yeah. Storm was supposed to be like second in command. With
What about Kitty Pride? If we're gonna get more into that. I mean,
how about America? What's her name? The time traveling one from
I'm
the
not gonna even try to say her name.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? She was built up to be the only person in the entire multiverse universes that can slipstream through every multiverse.
I mean,
Um,
what about
I
Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan?
Kamala Khan had her own standalone, right? They built her all up. And on the same vein as what you just mentioned, Moon Knight
Moon Knight, exactly. Where's Moon Knight?
and the supposed Blade. Well, that's even dead.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
dead.
forget about that. At this point, what about? I know it's never going to happen, even though I think it's getting closer and closer because Daredevil actually, episode 5, confirmed it. They united everything, but we'll get into that in the next episode. What about Daredevil?
And every tentacle from Daredevil.
Exactly.
We have Punisher, Echo, Fisk, Luke Cage, go
I
down,
yeah, I mean, go on the list. Yeah, exactly.
Iron Fist, on the whole is dead in the water.
I
Uh,
mean,
this dispel the ongoing internet rumor that Thanos was going to get revived.
well, they were talking about King Thanos, but I mean, let Thanos be. I want, Thanos.
Is done.
I will die on this hill. Thanos is not Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom,
Is done.
it's the legitimate, the real Doctor Victor Von Doom. There's nobody worse than Doctor Doom,
So
or better, whichever way you want to see it. I mean,
supposedly the most ingenious of ingeniuses, possibly not. Oh, not ahead of ourselves,
hmm.
right? And you and I are Deader Dudes will be present for the live viewing. We're gonna get our tickets for the first family, the first steps. But in comic book lore, Reed Richards' son can change matter with a thought. I mean,
Frankly,
beyond what you could think of as far as power.
his daughter is insanely powerful as well, Valeria. Which I hope to make an appearance in the movie, but that's later on.
But same hand in hand, if you're coming with big firepower, you're leaving those out, and it does have a pretty dramatic and tie-in because they're kids.
Right.
Like where's that go? So
And how about the Guardians of the Galaxy?
yes, freaking huge. Where there was all these rumors that Chris Pratt might come back to reprise his role if it was the right fit. Gamora, the new Guardians with the huge Groot, with Golden Boy, the hell, God, Adam.
And Warlock.
Yes. Which, oh my God, did they drop the ball? That's the only beef I have with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They kind of dropped the ball with his character.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if he got his marching orders from up top to tone him down and make him kind of a goofy.
I guess I see what they were trying to do since he's so OP, so overpowered, or theoretically overpowered. I think they wanted to kind of
Tone him
give,
down.
yeah, to tone him down, which is kind of what they did with Thor in the beginning. Kind of made him that fish out of water, kind of goofy, until Thor became Thor. And what about Captain America himself? And I talk about Steve Rogers. I'm not talking about We know that Black Widow is dead, dead. She's done. As
Well,
said,
she
and
also, she also burned her bridges.
well, but she also came back. So
Yeah, I mean, she also came back, but at the same time, she did have a lawsuit against them.
no, I mean,
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Now, we've seen who's here. Any other big omissions? I know there's still a few floating out there. My question is, This is a list of superheroes.
Right.
So it's all versus one Doctor Doom?
Well, the issue is, let's not forget the one we actually had a podcast on this. The big fatal flaw of the MCU of the Marvel movies is that the villains have not been up to par to the heroes, save maybe a handful. Save Thanos, Kang. To a degree, actually he got punked out pretty easily. The um Killmonger, you know, off the top of my head, Ultron was punked out. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's another one. Vision.
yes, exactly. Vision. I mean,
White Vision.
so there's not many of them left because they all get killed off. To be honest.
But you know what I'm saying? I get it. Fantastic Four is going to have Galactus and the Silver Surfer and a few others. Maybe he's that on that power range. But you're talking about this assembly of characters versus one. I thought it, unless my other fan theory comes into play, and this is all contrived, right? This is all controlled, chaotic for us, fodder for us to speculate, so they could be relevant for us to talk about. So my fan theory is this is an incomplete list.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are missing. In particular, we mentioned, not all of them, but we mentioned some of them that off the top of our heads. And but at the same time, how many characters can you put on screen at one time? These big actors. I mean, what are you gonna have? 50 cast member? I mean, I guess you kind of sort of did in Endgame and Infinity War to a lesser degree. So, but dude, I mean, I get it. It's a Hollywood movie. It's not a comic book where you could just draw it. You know what I mean?
I mean, when you go back to Endgame and Infinity War, right? Two movies you put together for a total of maybe 5+ hours, 6 almost.
Right.
There's a ton of characters, but they centered maybe a dozen, and the rest were fringe pieces. You saw them in battle more than they had actual dialogue speaking.
Yeah, War Machine again, another one. Hawkeye, who are omitted from this, and
The new Avengers, the young ones they're bringing up. Yeah, there's a plethora, and I get it. You can't squeeze everybody together in one box, and then there's also creative juices like these individuals' availability.
well, Robert Downey Jr. turned down the Odyssey because of scheduling conflicts with this. So go figure.
So I get it in that sense, but at the same time, why you swell it up so big? And
We don't know what the plot is, so we don't know how it's all going to work out. From what was said, obviously this is going to be the Kang Dynasty. This was supposed to be, and now we're turning to Doomsday.
oh yes, and of course that's the obvious submission to a Kang or variant of.
Yeah. So first of all, which we spoke about this several times. Give me a resolution to the Kang debacle, and I say debacle because it turned to a debacle. All right. Give me a resolution to the Kang situation. And what is the plot? There's lots of speculation that it may be a Doctor Doom from a different timeline slash universe slash reality who happens to look just like Robert Downey Jr. Or it can be actually Tony Stark who looks like Victor Von Doom, and the characters within the movie are gonna be like Tony, and no, it's Victor Von Doom, or it's just Robert Downey Jr., the actor, playing just a different role, and just everyone, it's just he's Doctor Doom. He's not Tony Stark.
He's reprising his role from Tropic Thunder. He's a dude playing a dude playing another dude.
Yes.
I mean, you would know more than I in the in the bowels of MCU comic book lore, where they go upon to another planet and fight to the death, but different factions, right?
But that's supposed to be what Secret Wars.
Yeah, but isn't that leading up to it?
So we think that was announced, but
If you look at it, right, you got
27 cast members plus another, who knows, another maybe another 15 that aren't named.
X-Men
You
and
think
half
it's gonna be
cast of Thunderbolts.
part one or part two? And that's another thing. The X-Men.
Yeah, weren't they supposed to have their own standalone?
Yeah, but we know for a fact that they already mentioned it's a different timeline. All right.
Yeah,
We know.
but the mention here are from the 20-year ago Fox X-Men.
Yeah. And we thought that Deadpool kind of did away with that, which was kind of cool that they kind of, you know,
But they reopened it.
so, but it also you kind of ended that whole thing, but now you don't.
No, because look, they left it open with the end of the Marvels. When what's her name, who's admitted to, when she saved the universe and ventured into the other multiverse with mutants.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? I know this is a Swiss cheese potholes all over the place.
And now, which they kind of did a disservice to themselves, which they kind of, if people pay attention and they're smart, there is an omission to a cast member from the Deadbolts, geez, the Thunderbolts. Okay, who's missing? Taskmaster's missing.
A good catch.
Now, why is she missing? Why would you do that just before the movie comes out next month?
Well, and then there's a reason for
And you know for what that they're gonna fight the Sentry,
there.
and now you announce the cast. Yeah, you omitted her. You omitted her. Now, of course, it could be just an omission in the sense like we met all these other Spidey, et cetera, omitted just for now when they haven't announced the whole cast. But
On the head.
relates, that she's gonna get killed off in Thunderbolts.
You already said it. Okay, let's go to the latest movie that came out of the MCU Factory.
Oh boy.
Brave New World. Initially, I think because they didn't have much competition, they kicked ass in the box office. But then it fell off like a cliff, like a drop. And you can tell. You don't have to take our word for it. You go check out the reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, whatever. A lot of people liked it. No one really loved it. And a lot of people did not like it. So I think they've taken yet another hit, which something they kind of hedged their bets on would be a good one. And this is the reason why I believe this list was leaked intentionally, because they want to stay afloat. They're treading water, but they're bobbing up and down there. They're probably losing steam. So that did them in not so good. You got Thunderbolts, and then you got Fantastic Four. Right? Those are the two only biggest projects out there, other than the Fantastic the Fantastic Daredevil series, Born Again Now. I think they want to start regaining some traction before everyone, fandom-wise, abandons ship.
Well, I mean, I suppose it's possible. I mean, see, but it's an odd time to announce this because it almost overshadows in a way Fantastic Four that's coming out.
Yes, it does, because you're looking past that.
Exactly, and it clearly overshadows Thunderbolts, which I've heard good things. I mean, early news is or it's positive, much more positive than
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that.
than Brave New World.
Three movies, superhero-wise, in this coming up that I want to watch in theaters are going to be the Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Superman.
Yes.
I mean, I really want to see them in theater. I don't think these are things I would enjoy to the full extent on my 30-inch TV or my phone. So I'm gonna go and watch it, and I'm hoping, although there's a widening door crack, that I won't be disappointed.
mean, I don't know, man.
I mean, at this point, I actually have more faith in the Superman project because of James Gunn than I do where Marvel has been going.
I don't
Oh,
know.
you shake your head, you got something stirring, you know something.
And look, and this is not just not it's not a bias or an anti DC bias, which I'm going to get into a whole tangent about that. But
That's what we're here for.
a whole year to edit and CGI everything, I don't know. Something smells fishy in Pulukoville, you know.
Well, what really stinks.
Photography's done. I mean, the production is done. It's been done. So,
Well, Ted, maybe the film itself was not up to snuff to James Gunn's snuff, and so a lot of reshoots and a lot of animation may have been added in because it wasn't satisfactory in the first run or second or third edition or whatever until they got it right.
why do we need so much CGI, man? Why do we need that much CGI?
Because it's Superman. There's going to be massive CGI.
Christopher Reeve had no CGI, man.
Okay, I have to call you out on your old folk ways. Superman was when gas was $99 and people had to go every Tuesday. Okay, how's this?
$99? Yeah, sure. 99 cents, you mean?
You can't go every day. You had to go odd and even numbers of your plate. Now, come on, reel it in, reel it in.
Sorry.
The world we live in now, whether you like it or not, swallow it like a good boy. Take your tussin. Is
But I'm old, right? Tussin.
is
No, no. What are you gonna? You gonna give me a lollipop afterwards? Old fogey, old timey Tussin. Yeah. See,
you want a lollipop or something else to suck on?
this is a kid show, please.
Really?
But
I hope we're doing our best parody jobs right
no, all right. So let's get back to this. Obviously, we both think that it's a preliminary list, a preliminary cast. That being said, are you kind of, besides obviously the obvious of the X-Men, are you surprised? Are you excited for the film? Are you looking forward to it?
now. I am
And
both.
lastly, what do you think the plot will be?
I am surprised at the X-Men cast.
Mhm.
How it's not the more modern ones. I am curious that nearly all, like you said, nearly all the Thunderbolts are in it. This is kind of like Thunderbolts 2.
Mhm.
And I'm not shocked by Captain America, by the Fantastic Four. We all knew that was, they even said it, that's included. Like once they're here this summer, they're going to stay for a while. They've already pretty much included in almost every project thus far that there's a multiverse. That's why Loki's here.
Oh yeah, that was another one. Sorry to interject. Loki. If you guys have not seen season 2 of Loki, you need to watch it. At the end, I don't want to spoil it, but at the end of the series, Loki isn't really Loki anymore. That's what I'm going to say.
No, you can. I think you should say it because at this point,
Well, I mean, he essentially gives himself up, and he kind of becomes
story.
one with the timeline, basically, and he fixes all the timelines, and he kind of becomes like part of everything.
He's holding the timelines together.
Exactly. So,
So, so invariably, the plot has to do with the threats Doom will pose to the integrity of the timelines. How else is he? And that is where you suck in this version of X-Men, that group of Thunderbolts,
well,
this
it's a different Loki. It's not the same Loki. Which mind you, the Loki that we had in the series, it still isn't the original Loki anyway.
Yeah, but that's the only way I could think of that you tie in this entire.
Original Loki, we know what happened to the original Loki way back when in Avengers, Infinity War. But
Oh, and just my own little skew on this is that I love it and I hate it because it does give you new branches and new, but at the same time, it's always like an out.
what?
The multiverse.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's like time travel, like the gigawatts. You know what I mean? It kind of it's what's that phrase they use?
It's lazy.
It's lazy writing. It's lazy. Yeah. It's the excuse or the way to just solve everything. And
Yeah, easy out.
even though it was done well, I thought we kind of were done with the timelines and everything after Loki and after freaking the multiverse of madness and after freaking the last Spider-Man movie. I mean, it's like, come on, it's
This,
cool and all. Heck, even in Deadpool, didn't we finish it with Deadpool?
no, they all they did was like recreate it. They went heavy deep. No, they went heavy deep when you had the 1,000 different
Right.
Deadpools fighting pretty Deadpool.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what? Actually, yeah, they kind of
They were
almost they almost undid everything that was done to kind of end it. So
that movie itself, because it was so fantastic as far as visually goes, it does you do lose the fact that all these multiverse Deadpool fought to save one path of timeline, where it's kind of like, who would do that? Everyone's here to save their own.
not to mention, we already know that's not what that's not what do they call that like the number one timeline. They have it a name, but
What the six whatever.
the sacred timeline is that what they call it?
Yeah,
But
but even the sacred timeline, it's not. It shouldn't be any devalued less than any of the branches. They have a life too. They have an existence too.
of course, but I mean, which in essence, that's what Deadpool was trying to say that you know I don't know. It's so. Lastly, what do you think the plot's going to be?
So that's what I think. But there's no way to do this without thinking what the plot line is going to branch out from Fantastic Four.
Right.
So obviously there's going to be a merger again of multiverses where the Fantastic Four will leap somehow, and there's all speculation on my app, will leap somehow into Earth 616 and let them know that there's this entity called Galactus, and this is what he's done to destroy their world, and they want to stop it from destroying 616 Earth, which will open up a whole thing now with X-Men, with who, and somehow Doctor Doom will come, I'm assuming, towards the end of it, unless he's behind the fissure. Maybe he's behind the, what do you call it when another universe implodes into it? The
Incursion.
incursion event, and maybe that starts a rapture where they do defeat Galactus, but then they have to deal with Doctor Doom. And why is Doctor Doom there? Maybe he wanted to weaken the strong Earth and send in his minions and his force and put into play his own plot line, which carries it into this.
But Doctor Doom doesn't.
He's a genius.
He's not. He doesn't go out searching for, to rule the world. It kind of.
Rule the universes.
Yeah, but he kind of. It's not. He's not the kind of villain who, wants to take everything. He'll do it in a way that's kind of. He believes he's right, and he believes in benevolence, and he believes that he's doing the right thing for everyone. Right now, there's a storyline going on, the world under Doom, in which Doctor Doom is taking over the world. Well, first of all, he's Sorcerer Supreme, and he's taking over the world, and everyone is convinced that Doctor Doom is doing the great thing, and he's world peace and this and that, except for the Avengers. And the Avengers can't believe that everybody's going, dude, you guys are being fooled. It's Doctor Doom. What the hell? But everybody's like, oh, Doctor Doom, we love Doctor Doom.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Doom is going to come at the end of Fantastic Four and save the world. And
I mean, it's possible, especially the fact that they're having this series now. I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know, but let me just say for Fantastic Four, I don't want to see anything like the Doom until the end. Let it be against Galactus or whomever. Boom, Annihilus, whatever and then maybe we get then maybe no. Let me stop. Maybe opening up all the realities. Maybe we get Invincible. No, stop. Anyway.
you
Oh,
ultralights.
hey, I mean, weird things have happened. They already agreed there's going to be a DC Marvel crossover.
No, no way.
And there's going to be two books. It's going to closer towards the middle of the end of this year. There's going to be a two book, like one published by Marvel, one published by DC, in which is going to be a crossover for the first time in like 20 some odd years. Yeah,
Now that would be a secret war I'd love to see.
So
Which, speaking of which, from the Secret Invasion series, which nobody watched, there's a whole other avenue of aliens.
the scrolls and that super scroll. Geez, Khaleesi, what the hell's her name? Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, she's on like exponential power. This one.
Well, I mean,
Where is she in all this? Because she's on Earth.
I don't know, dude. I mean, you got me. I mean, there's so many missing pieces.
He's
But I mean, if anyone can juggle this whole thing, and I'm not trying to toot their horn, but I am kind of the Russo brothers, and let's see how they do. The plot is, it's more tightly guarded than freaking than the government secrets in Washington right now. So I mean,
would Doom pit a whole group of superheroes versus another before we get to Secret Wars?
I don't know. And then again, what kind of which there were two Secret Wars series. One was Secret Wars with an omnipotent being named the Beyonder. He got a bunch of heroes and a bunch of villains and put them on a planet and had that fight. I mean, throughout the series, great series that you watch. It also, if I'm not mistaken, it probably also is the first maxi limited series ever. Also, and it was one of the most successful as well. With the first 12 issues miniseries, and it was great. I mean, to the point where actually Doom got the powers of the Beyonder, killed everyone except for two people. You had the healer from the planet, and you also had Colossus, and Colossus ended up saving Mr. Fantastic, which in turn they basically resurrected everyone, and then that's how they defeated the Beyond. But that's besides the point. And then there was another,
Out those other cheap out if we can just start resurrecting people.
and it's comic books. No one dies except for people that dies Uncle Ben and Captain Marvel. Besides that, everybody comes back. Even Phoenix, who's also a glaring omission in the X-Men as well.
Well, I mean, then we can do a whole else separate episode speculation for Secret Wars.
So the second Secret Wars, which means is where Doctor Doom becomes the most powerful version of himself, and he has the Molecule Man under hostage, and he turned the world into his whim and had different like places, different arenas of battles where it went industry wide, company wide, and he killed Thanos in like one page. So guys, look it up. It's actually a decent storyline as well. But nonetheless, this movie is going to be one or two parts. I don't know. The plot for me, I don't know. I think people are speculating it's going to be, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm assuming it has to do something with the incursions, it has to do something with the timelines, and somehow they get intermingled, and that's how the X-Men show up. And already, as you previously mentioned, the Fantastic Four is already there. And that's kind of what happens. And eventually and then they're going to give the X-Men their due. At the same time, they're going to give them the proper send-off. And then that way, they're going to really, the mutants are here. Now we can,
Well, yeah. Then in actual Secret Wars, it's going to be off the chain. It's going to be, I mean, fight scenes on a comic book level,
yeah. I mean,
which almost begs. I wish there was like an animated version because then you can go ballistic
well, look, I mean, if we're talking about this movie's going to be $400 million, I don't even know. It's going to be,
on CGI alone.
yeah, it's going to be absolutely nuts. And I give kudos to the actors that will be there and might get a page of dialogue in the whole mill in the whole film. I mean,
No, that's eventually what they're gonna have to do because you just can't give everybody screen time.
you're having people like these huge hitters. What is Shang-Chi gonna do? You know,
Warm body in the background.
you know what I mean? So
On a sidebar note, I don't know if you know anything else, just a tidbit since we're hitting all of MCU. Any update on the Spider-Man Miles Morales?
no, they moved it back.
They keep moving it back.
They moved it back, but as far as I know, everything's on the up and up. They just moved it back. They didn't want to get everything fine tuned and perfect. So, but it's already it's just about done, and so next year.
That's the only beef is that it's
A better question is what's going to happen with the Tom Holland Spider-Man, which he already agreed to do Spider-Man 4. And I heard a rumor or I read a rumor that Sony was going to give up Spider-Man, give it back to Marvel. I think they're kind of tired of the whole thing. Obviously, not give it back. They're going to probably set it and obviously make a shit ton of money off of it. And then Marvel was going to actually own, because I mean, except for Araka, I mean, who enjoyed Craven. I'm not sure anyone else who saw it.
well because yes, Craven is part of the Sony Spider-Man.
Don't get me wrong. I love Craven.
Or
First appearance of Craven in a point .5.
look, I mean, look, like a perfect rendering. See,
Same. Right. Okay. That being said, we're looking forward to Avengers Doomsday and the cast and the ridiculousness that the Marvel Studios did was was funny to say the least. And let's see if it actually comes out on time. So let us know what you guys think about the cast, who was missing, the omissions, and what the plot may be for this film. You're gonna have one or two parts, or the X-Men, Deadpool, etc., etc., etc. And as usual, I'm Izzy.
Raka, thanks for tuning in, everybody there. And remember, be vigilant. Hit us up with any news if you find any, your own fan theories, and always, always save the whales.
Take care, everybody.